the United States has put a fresh oil sanction on Russia. And the most important country which is going to be affected by this is Moscow's biggest customer, India. Join me in this journey as we trace the new oil sanctions which the United States has put on Russia and how all eyes are on New Delhi now to see how they are going to react to it. This is not just about a new oil sanction because there have been a lot of sanctions on Russia ever since the Ukraine war started. But this sanction is trying to bring a tectonic shift in global geopolitics. Hi guys, in today's video, let's discuss about the new oil sanctions which USA has put on Russia and how this is going to impact India. Let's first understand what happened. On October 22, 2025, the US Treasury Department placed two companies. One is the Rosneft, second is the Lukoil in the Special Designated National or the Blocked Person list, the infamous SDN list. So what happens is when someone is placed in this list, what happens is their assets in USA are freezed and it prevents any citizen of USA to have any form of economical relationship with this company. See, what they are saying is now no US national should have any business with these two oil companies. And also, they have put one more clause in this, the threat of primary and secondary sanctions. See, primary sanction is telling your citizens don't have any economic relationship with this shop. That is, you don't buy anything from this shop, for an example. Now, they have also put a threat of secondary sanction. See, secondary sanction is telling every other country in the world that you should not buy from this shop. So basically, what they are trying to tell is with this sanction, no company in this world should have any form of relationship with these oil fields, such that if they have this economic relation with these oil fields, they cannot have any form of economic relationship with USA. That is, they cannot use any USA banks or have any economical relationship with any company in USA. See, all non-foreign entities in USA have stopped any form of relationship with oil fields. Now, the foreign countries are also worried that with these sanctions, if they continue to buy oil from these oil fields, then the threat of secondary sanction looms. Now, this has been further strengthened by the fact that Europe has also put a sanction on Russian oil, saying that any petroleum product coming from the crude oil of Russia cannot be used anywhere in Europe. Meaning that before, the crude oil which was being imported from Russia to India used to be refined in India and indirectly sent to Europe. Now, what they are saying is even this petroleum, the crude oil which is coming from Russia, even if it is refined in another country, cannot be used in Europe. So, with sanctions coming from USA as well as Europe, now Russia is in crossroad telling that now what we are going to do, because the reason what USA has given for this is that they are not coming to a conclusion of the Ukraine war and they are not stopping the war. So, in retaliation for that, they have put these sanctions. And now let's see what actually India is going to be affected in this. See, USA has put sanction on Russia, but why India is going to be affected by this? Let's see that in our next segment. See, till 2022, oil imports from Russia to India was negligible. But post 2022, after the Russia Ukraine war, a lot of sanctions were put on Russia. So many countries start buying oil from Russia, because of which the oil prices in Russia fell down. India seized this opportunity and they started buying oil from Russia. Now, in 2025, about 35% of total Indian oil imports come from Russia. Now, these new oil sanctions have been put. Now, the threat of secondary sanction looms. Now, the question in everybody's mind is what is New Delhi going to say and how they are going to react? See, this is not only about the government reacting. A lot of private companies also have dealings with these oil companies. These two oil companies on which these sanctions have been put are not just any other oil company. They amount to up to half of Russian oil production, especially this Lukoil company amounts to total 2% of the total global oil production. See, these are all huge companies and our private companies have lot of dealings with them. Now, the question is what the private companies are going to do. Already, Reliance in Jamnagar, they get about 5 lakh barrels of oil. Now, they have already publicly announced that we are not going to get this oil from them because the deadline given by USA is November 21, 2025. If any company is going to have any dealing with these two oil companies after November 21, then secondary sanctions can be put on them. So many private companies have started to rethink their dealing with these two major oil companies. But the real question is, can India afford to stop buying oil from Russia? See, the main problem in India is we now import up to 35% of our oil imports are coming from Russia. What if we stop? What will happen is our current accounts deficit. This current account deficit is the deficit between amount we earn from our exports and the amount we spend on imports. Now, if we stop buying oil from Russia, the price of a single barrel of oil will go up because we are getting the oil from Russia at a subsidized price. So, if $10 increase for each barrel, what they are saying is the current account deficit will increase to about a staggering 0.4 to 0.5% of our total GDP. Now, see, this is going to affect everybody, even the common man. How it is going to affect the common man? See, once the oil prices go up, what happens? The cost of transportation of food products and other basic needs also go up. So, not only the oil prices go up, also the products which are being transported because of this oil also will go up, and overall the inflation will increase. So, the real question in everybody's mind is, can we afford to stop buying oil from Russia? See, already many private companies have said that they are not going to have any dealings with these two oil companies after November 21. Now, everybody is waiting for the reaction from New Delhi. We already spoke about the current account deficit and how the gap in this current account deficit will increase by a staggering zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.5 of the total country's GDP if we stop buying oil from Russia. This is mainly because the oil prices will increase if we are buying from any other country. So, what will happen is we have to pay more US dollars to buy this oil. This will weaken the Indian rupee. Also, already Indian rupee is at a historic low, and if this happens, it will go even lower. So, there is two ways to see it. One way, if the company is given, then what is going to happen is the oil prices are going to go up and inflation is going to increase. Also, the rupee is going to fall. But if the companies don't give in, then what is going to happen? The threat of secondary sanctions loom. So both ways there is going to be problem and a diplomatic resolution is needed. Now the second thing is, if we stop buying oil from Russia, what about the economic relationship between India and Russia? This is a historical partnership and we are doing trade to the tune of $50 billion. Now, if something like this happens, trade relations between India and Russia can get affected. Not only trade relationship, the partnership between India and Russia will be affected because India also gets a lot of military equipments from Russia. And Russia also needs India's partnership in the global stage. So this can get affected. Also, we need to understand that Washington will also not want to make India an enemy because Washington needs India to counter China's growth. Now, this is becoming a way in which all the countries have to resolve it very diplomatically because each country needs each other for their own specific needs, and a diplomatic resolution is the need of the hour. See, right now, New Delhi is in crossroads. See, suppose if they give in to these sanctions and they stop buying oil from these two oil companies, then they'll have to get oil from other countries. The price of oil will go up. And accordingly, as we discussed previously, inflation will happen because we need to get oil at a more costlier rate, because of which inflation will happen and the public will get angry. At the same time, if we resist this sanction, the threat of secondary sanctions loom. Already we are affected by the 50% import tariffs which USA has placed on India. Trade will get affected. So how New Delhi is going to react to it is what everybody is closely watching. See, now we can see that USA has put sanction on two oil companies in Russia, and the most important country which is affected by it is India. So we need to see how India carefully treads this because right now India is heading towards strategic autonomy, meaning that we will decide our foreign policy. That is, we will decide who our friends are, who our enemies are, and we will not be strong armed by any nation. Suppose we give in to this sanction, this path of heading towards strategic autonomy will reach a speed breaker and that path will get delayed. But even if we resist this sanction, it is going to be a problem because the threat of secondary sanctions loom. So let's wait what happens. Most probably, what is going to happen is India is going to buy oil from Russia, but they will reduce the amount of oil they buy from Russia. This will actually smoothen the relationship between India and USA also, because overnight you can't stop buying oil from Russia because that will be catastrophic. So most probably what is going to happen is, to smoothen the relationship between India and USA, India might reduce the amount of oil they are buying from Russia, such that the relationship between India and USA smoothens. See, every country needs each other for their own benefits, and I am sure that there will be a good diplomatic solution reached in this matter. Do like, share, and subscribe me for more interesting videos.